In this video, we're going to be working on solving absolute value equations. When we deal with an absolute value, remember that everything becomes positive. For example, an absolute value of 5 is equal to an absolute value of -5 and is also equal to 5. Now, let's try this example. We have an absolute value of 5x minus 10, which is equal to 20, and we want to solve for x. If we look at our example earlier, we got 5 from an absolute value of 5 and an absolute value of -5. The same thing here, we have 20 from an absolute value of 5x minus 10 and an absolute value of -5x minus 10. Hence, to solve for x, we need to break this equation down into two separate processes. So we'll have a positive case and a negative case. First, we have the positive case, which is 5x minus 10 equals 20. And the second is the negative case, which is -5x minus 10 equals 20. If you forget how to solve a simple linear equation and want to review it, you can watch our YouTube video, which can be accessed right here. But I'll cover it a little bit to solve our equations. So we'll first solve the positive case. We'll add 10 on both sides, and this equation becomes 5x minus 10 plus 10 equals 20 plus 10. This gives us 5x equals 30, and then we can divide both sides by 5 and we'll get x equals 6. On the other hand, for the negative case, we need to multiply 5x minus 10 by the negative sign to get rid of the bracket. So this equation becomes -5x plus 10 equals 20. After that, we'll subtract both sides by 10, so this equation becomes -5x plus 10 minus 10 equals 20 minus 10. This gives us -5x equals 10, and then we can divide both sides by -5 and we'll get x equals -2. If we put these values back into our equation, we should get the same answer, which is 20. Now we'll do the verification part. If we take x equals 6 and put it into the equation, we'll have an absolute value of 5 multiplied by 6 minus 10, and this is equal to an absolute value of 30 minus 10, which is equal to an absolute value of 20, which will give us 20. If we take x equals -2 and put it into the equation, we'll have an absolute value of 5 multiplied by -2 minus 10, and this is equal to an absolute value of -10 minus 10, which is equal to an absolute value of -20, and everything becomes positive when we have an absolute value, so this becomes 20 as well. Now we see that from the same absolute value equation, we get two different x values. So, whenever you deal with an absolute value equation, don't forget to break the problem into separate processes and go from there. And that is how you solve an absolute value equation.
The main thing to remember when solving equations is that whatever you do to one side of an equation, you must also do to the other side. As long as we follow this rule, we can do as many operations as necessary to solve an equation.
What if I told you I could take a sphere and mathematically prove that I can break it into pieces and reassemble them into two spheres, both the same size as the original? You'd say I was crazy, but according to the Banach-Tarski theorem, it's completely possible.